All right, so on this video, I'm going to share an article I wrote a year ago called My Experience on the Front Lines of Energy Efficiency Contracting. These are some of the things that I learned in the industry and some of the things that I think were wrong with the industry and that we intend to provide solutions for. So, my experience on the front lines of energy efficiency contracting. Before I can begin discussing solutions, I must first make the case for what the problem is. Energy efficiency only really came onto the scene heavily within the past 6 or 7 years. It was the passing of the Paris Agreement in 2015 that started the energy efficiency movement. Before that, energy efficiency was the last thing on most people's minds. It was an afterthought. Energy efficiency was expensive, not that efficient, and quite frankly, way too new of an industry for people to really buy into it. Now, solar had begun its uptake about 4 to 5 years prior, but even that was in its infancy. However, solar and LED were the renewable energy efficiency technologies that dominated the 20 teens. The LED industry didn't get on the scene until around 16, 17. It then proceeded to experience exponential growth from late 2017 and onwards. Solar was still the biggest, but LEDs had unquestionably secured second place. And a niche group of entrepreneurs and companies rode that wave, including myself. I started New World Lighting Solutions, an LED lighting contracting business, in February 2016. Simply put, I saw an opportunity within the, quote, at the time, newly emerging LED industry. And so I took a leap of faith and ended up building a multi-million-dollar energy efficiency business in the following 5 years, with the height of that journey coming in 2021, when we were awarded as being the top performing lighting contractor in Long Island. So here's this is that actual award. We completed over 500 LED retrofits for commercial buildings all across Long Island, and I audited well over 2,500 commercial facilities at that time. So that's just a hyperlink to a list of all the completed projects that we had. And there's 15 pages here of all of our completed projects, just showing proof of that claim, stating that we did over 500 projects. That experience gave me a first-hand account of the barriers to adoption and things that commercial businesses wanted and didn't want, liked and didn't like, and was willing to pay for and weren't willing to pay for. Rebates are important to help cover the cost of adopting energy efficient technologies because they tend to cost more than their non-energy efficient counterpart, so they have to be incentivized to make these upgrades. I got a first-hand experience during this time as to what the private sector wants when it comes to adopting clean technologies. And at the rudimentary level, they want what the newly emerging industry didn't have yet, which was a standardized process by which everything was handled and options to finance these purchases were available so that if they had to come out of pocket, it would be as little as possible. This is precisely what they desired, and some got it, but most others did not. They wanted their hands to be held throughout the process and to experience at least somewhat of a standardized process by which they could feel comfortable in knowing, or at least feeling like they knew what they were getting. And that level of standardization was something that this new industry hadn't collectively achieved yet. Everyone did things in their own way. Nothing was standardized, and people and companies created processes that were a reflection of how they wanted to run their business, which resulted in many different experiences for early adopters of energy efficient products and services. Clients really couldn't look forward to a simple, straightforward process. Energy efficiency contractors were notorious for overclaiming savings, not being there when the lights were failing to warranty their product, and rarely going back to make sure that the clients achieved the expected savings that they were expecting to receive. A lot of the lights that were sold between 2015 and 2018 ended up failing horribly, yellowing, flickering, and not lasting as long as the salespeople would claim. And when that happened, people were largely left to deal with it on their own, just because there was a bunch of people and companies selling things only because there were available rebates to do so. There was no standardization, no verification, no commitment, and plenty more besides that, but you get the picture. It was like the Wild Wild West. This resulted in the taste people have been left in their mouths with about energy efficiency, especially in the commercial spaces. It truly was an industry that was beginning to emerge and didn't have any type of industry-wide or universal parameters to operate by. So therefore, many people had varied experiences, of which a large portion was not that great. And that's where we stand now, on the brink of the most massive transformation since the Industrial Revolution in regards to the greening of the grid and making the modern day built environment intelligent. By the way, I wrote that this was written before the IRA was passed. Massive action is needed to decarbonize our planet, and massive action is being taken and committed to by government agencies as well as the private sector at large. First, what systems and processes are currently in place to standardize and help facilitate this global need? Second, how are the public sector and private sector going to move forward with these projects in an organized and efficient manner? They don't have a way, and that's a big, big problem. And this is why I started the article by stating, before I can begin discussing solutions, I must first make the case for what the problem is. Unless you were involved in this industry during this time, how would you know that there is a problem experienced in this sector in regards to the standardization of projects? It's hard to know unless you were there experiencing it firsthand. The problem stated above is necessary to understand before you could fully understand the value of a solution to it. How do you understand a solution if you don't understand the problem? You simply don't. And that's why I felt it was crucial just to state it as bluntly as I have. This is coming straight from the horse's mouth, from the mouth of someone who was and is still fully involved in the energy efficiency industry. I intend to set the stage for the next article in which I will go into detail about a solution for this problem. Until next time.
Talk about Toastmasters.
I'm not in front of people right now.
You gotta